Many of us choose to manage smaller reputation clubs in Football Manager, and as a result, we're often forced to sell players against our will. But how do we gain the most out of our sales when we're a selling club? After all, 99% of clubs are forced to sell star players in some capacity. Well, as a man who often manages non-league or lower reputation clubs, it's a rare top 3 in which I'm actually qualified to discuss the subject matter. That's right, today I'm giving you my top 3 selling tips when you're forced to part with your stars in the Football Manager transfer market. If you like the sound of that and want to find out more, then please do add a thumbs up on the video. You can also subscribe for daily FM22 videos, including a brand new top 3 every Sunday. You can find the series so far, as well as all the other key playlists up in the eye above. But you can check those out later, because for now, let's get straight into our number 3 selling tip. At number 3 is the loan back clause. Why oh why is this not used more often? No one? Exactly. This must be one of the most underlooked areas in Football Manager transfer negotiations. Let's face it, most of the time we're managing either smaller clubs in big nations or teams in smaller nations. In these types of careers, as soon as a young player comes into the team and starts performing well for you, the vultures start to circle, don't they? That elite side not wanting to miss out on the next big thing, or that English side trying to take advantage of their superior league reputation again. But let's push back a little. Don't let them take your young stars immediately. The chances are they'll only go and rot in their youth team or reserve team anyway. So why not use the loan back clause? It can be beneficial to everyone. The positives for you get your star players back temporarily for as long as you select, which is particularly useful if you're forced to sell in a January window where you're normally going to get the best financial offers but least likely to want to look for replacements for your squad. In addition, you can usually get them back for a 0% wage contribution, protecting those fragile finances at most lower levels. Finally, if the player enjoys the loan spell and his parent club still doesn't have them in the first team plans, you might even be able to extend the loan again before it expires. Let's cover the negatives too though, out of fairness. Oh, that's right, there aren't any. On to number 2. For number 2, let's focus on negotiations, and in particular, the area I like to call maybe money. While of course, smaller reputation and lower league clubs often rely on player sales to survive financially, it doesn't mean there's a need for you to be taken advantage of. Beware of elite clubs. It might be pocket money to them, but they're still a business and will try your patience to steal a bargain. The higher up the food chain you sell, the worse it will probably go too. Don't get fooled by derisory offers or bids that include high value add-ons that are not guaranteed. The chances are big sides are offering you their money in appearance, international and goal clauses for your youngsters because they know they'll probably never have to pay most of them. They're taking a punt on 10 youngsters of which one's going to make it, so 90% of the time they know their money's safe if they add those clauses. They're trying to make it look better to you on paper, but trust me, it just isn't worth it overall. Letting them get away with this even once is setting you up for a long struggle, as word gets around quick in the footballing world. When negotiating initial offers, go hard on your demands, particularly if more than one club is interested in your player. You can often strike up a bidding war once the media gets wind of a rejected offer, as other clubs, they won't want to act too slowly and miss out on the next star to a rival club. Make sure any add-ons are guaranteed instalments, or the clause we're going to move on to now, which is our number 1 top tip. Sell-on clauses. Is there any transfer-related tip I talk about more than sell-on clauses in my long-term stories? There was no way that those of you who have followed this channel regularly knew this wasn't going to be number 1. There's a very good reason for it too. So many of you are being swindled by the crafty little AI buggers in Football Manager. That's right, it's another don't get fooled tip. If you're in that familiar position of having to let your best youngsters move on to bigger clubs, better career opportunities, you make sure it benefits little old you as well. In addition to making sure you get the player back on loan, save on wages, get guaranteed money, as we've covered already earlier in this video, make sure you get a sell-on clause. Not only does this give you an additional revenue stream, it can also save you in a future transfer window when the next young star comes around. Let's picture it. You add a sell-on clause as a habit like I often do. You forget about them and then suddenly at the start of a transfer window, you get a nice influx of cash as a player has been sold on again. That's now one window you don't have to worry about selling to balance the books. Quickly though, it's time for an Inception style tip within a tip here. Keep your eye on the clauses screen between transfer windows too, as sometimes you get ridiculous offers to sell the clause early. It saves you from potential disappointment if that player later gets released. As we've discussed before, a number of them will do, they won't always make it. However, there is one crucial caveat to this tip. You must get a clean sell-on clause, not the piddly percentage of profit that clubs so often offer to you. Make sure you exclude that immediately in the negotiation. Then go hard for a proper sell-on clause. It'll make you more money than you can imagine on its own. But then picture another situation, because it could save you bundles later in your career. If you start to fly through the leagues and you want to sign that academy star or that absolute hero of previous years back, maybe they have developed to the top level. Well, another added bonus to make this my number one tip is that you make money when you sign the player back. Because if you've got a 40% sell-on clause and you buy the player back, you still get the 40%. So you're technically only paying 60% of your transfer offer. Add that 40% saving to what you sold them for. You might even be running at a profit on them. Not a bad way to do business, is it? So those are my top 3 tips to help you when you're selling players in the next transfer window of your Football Manager save. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me, any other tips you swear by when negotiating transfers, and how many of my top 3 do you do already. If you enjoyed the episode, please do add a thumbs up on it and subscribe down below for daily FM22 content. You can find all the key links in the description below or the eye above. But thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next week for another episode of Top 3.